This is Whittle Waffle, episode 3.1.
Supplemental. See?
Exactly. Because today when I recorded, I forgot the whole what I've been watching section. So I decided to wait until after we watch the Picard finale tonight, which is our Friday routine. And then I would bring the husband, my husband, ladies and gentlemen, the Duttonator, Duts. Award-winning stage actor.
Sorry, that's different.
No. And we would have a chat about Picard and the other major new thing in our life.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. We got Disney Plus.
But we're going to talk about Disney Plus first, right?
No, we'll talk about Picard first because we've literally just stopped watching it, haven't we?
I know, but I thought if people didn't want the spoilers.
So there's going to be spoilers. There's going to be lots and lots and lots and lots of spoilers. So if you haven't watched the Picard finale, turn it off now. Like, come back and watch it, like, when you've watched the finale thing. Got no makeup left on. I'm less attractive than I was earlier. Just you keep drinking the beer. So we'll talk about Picard first because it's fresh and we haven't even talked about it with each other yet.
No, it's true.
So
we've just press stop.
Engage.
Yeah. It was very exciting.
So what are your initial finale thoughts?
I thought it was an interesting round off to the story. I liked the story. I liked that there was an arc. I liked that it was in 10 parts, which I know some Trek purists don't like. They like it to be self-contained episodes.
But we are of the Babylon 5 generation.
Yes, we certainly are. We just enjoy big stories told over these, it's a big canvas, right? Did I get you booed? Did I get you
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Just remember, little camera.
I'm so sorry.
He's not sorry.
Stop it. So sorry. So it's 10. So it was a good finale, but to me, honestly, I wanted it to be an end.
You think they should have just done the one series?
No, yeah, I think it would have been nice.
It doesn't happen in this day and age, though, does it? Really? Like, if something's popular, and I think apart from the bigger response has all been pretty positive, hasn't it?
It has been pretty positive from what I've seen.
So they're going to then have money chucked at them to make another one, aren't they?
Well, yes, and looking at Sir Patrick...
It's hard to walk away. Do you know anyone who's walked away apart from Supernatural Season 5?
Well, there are histories of people walking away. Craig David, he walked away from the troubles in his life.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But apart from Craig,
I think this was a terrible mistake.
I'm not. I immediately cannot recall.
Mostly, if they get offered money to have another series, another series is a forthcoming.
Well, money talks, and it was a success. And it's building part. It's another piece in this kind of this kind of post J.J. Abrams, so this era that J.J. Abrams has created, and this timeline that's kind of spun off from Discovery. And you've got the kind of Akiva Goldsman era of Trek and the way of telling those Trek stories, and it's very popular in this particular style. But I like the fact that we saw an older Picard in those kind of circumstances, so it was kind of to some degree released of the Roddenberry shackles.
But do you not think actually that finale was like literally the everything Star Trek? Because what they did was they didn't have a big fight. They avoided a big fight through what's the word? What's the word?
You never remember words.
I'm not very good at words. So it used to be one of Picard's duties on the Enterprise is that they would go to planets and they'd
have the diplomatic relations.
Yes, but he had a particular word. It's a particular word that I can't remember.
Obviously nothing's registered here.
No, but I know what I mean. But there's a word. And that's how they solved it with, it was the most Star Trek way.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not saying
it wasn't. Literally, that's Star Trek has bit fighting, but it's always that sort of pure arc, isn't it? That we're better. We're better than that. Humans are better. It's very Roddenberry,
we have the
isn't
potential to be.
Yeah.
We have potential. The human race has potential.
Yes, and do you not think that's like really...
Oh yeah, but I wasn't saying that it wasn't all that.
No, I'm saying that's what I really liked about the finale. Like, I've read some negative things
What did you
about the
read?
finale.
What did you read about the finale?
I've just read a couple of things where people have said they thought it was shite. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. They said it was shite.
Seems to be.
And I really didn't think it was shite. I thought it was quite lovely and really very Trek-like.
Who were the people who were saying the finale was shite?
Well, there's a few people, but
No,
it
no,
doesn't.
no,
I mean, but I don't really care about.
No, but were these people the same people that every week were saying it was shite,
No,
but still watching
not necessarily.
it?
No,
or these were.
No. So that's. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's what they think. I'm telling you what I think. I think it was a very Trek finale. I thought that was an interesting twist in making an extra synth. Which meant that, you know, oh, the fucking cat's here as well. There's no show without punch. Get off the camera. Get off the camera. Thank you. I thought it was really Trek. And I'm not sure there was quite enough for the ensemble cast to do. I think some people were left a little bit.
Well, how can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How did you feel about... Is he going to be in on this?
He has opinions about Star Trek.
He's furious.
Don't get him started on Star Wars. Be a fucking night.
He's just hovering. This is no good for people watching. They can't see
what they couldn't see. Oh, what a stupid get
It's
cat.
just a cat threatening to come in. I don't know why I'm scared to move. It's not like he's going to take me out. It's not like, you know what I mean?
You're clean off.
I know. I feel like I should cover myself in mud like he's a predator or something. Maybe we could hide from him. How did you feel?
Question mark,
well, I'll wind it back before I was rudely interrupted in my eye line. I feel like Christian Bale in that, you know. Stay out of my shot! You're ruining it, man! Absolute prick.
Your question, Mr. Dutton.
Christian Bale, probably a prick. But how did you feel about Jonathan Frakes' appearance in this episode? Were you excited? Did you feel like they shoehorned it in?
No,
did you feel it was...
I thought it was very, very Riker-ish for him to not be wanting to be left behind. And I thought it'd been kind of like this, like, momentous moment, him staying behind and him seeming really calm about it. But actually, it makes total sense to me that he was like, yeah, actually, I'm not doing that.
How do you think that conversation would have gone with the missus?
Oh, I think she would have been packing his bag.
Yeah, well, can't make pizza all the time.
No, but I like that they made reference to it as well. So what was I going to do? Stay behind, make pizza. All you people who were saying, oh, look at Riker making pizza.
Yeah, it was nice to see him back, actually.
What did you think about Data's appearance at the end?
Well, I thought
shit wig!
I thought his wig was terrible. It distracted me from the philosophy. Because his wig was so terrible. In fact, there were some shots that cut off his hairline.
Wig.
And I thought in editing, they looked at it and gone, that's a shit wig. We need to cut that hairline out right now.
It's so bad.
How can
they make these very, very, very realistic looking cloaked spaceships and the Kong
and fuck up a wig? It's the first rule of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, get the drag queens on.
Don't have a shit wig.
Don't have a shit wig.
You know.
The Soji Data, the green-eyed Soji, whose name I've forgotten. She had a shit wig as well.
She had a shit wig. Shit wigs, man. It was shit wigs.
I'm not down with the shit wigs. There's wigs better than that.
I enjoyed the Data thing.
That was a 25 quid wig.
It was worse than that.
Was it?
It was
15 quid.
What's that chain of costume shops called?
Magic Box.
Magic Box, not Pandora's Box. That's different.
No, that's different.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Magic Box is worse than a Magic Box wig.
It was a really bad wig.
Yeah.
And it was distracting for me in the Data's lovely emotional end piece.
It was.
I was just thinking about his hairpiece.
It kind of took away from that, and there's always been this kind of thread of the philosophy of mortality throughout this entire season, which has been quite nice. So seeing Picard more fragile and more kind of emotional going through there. So it's always been an interesting arc for me, that Picard emotional journey, which started in Star Trek Generations. I'm going to say with the
I like Star Trek Generation.
and spoilers here in case anyone hasn't seen that film, but with the news of the death of his nephew.
Oh yeah, he's wanted a baby since then, really.
And he's always
been broody.
He's always had. It's opened up an emotional
chasm.
Oh my god, what a word! It's opened up an emotional it opened up an emotional chasm for him, and we started to see a slightly different Picard run through some of the later movies, especially up all the way up, through Insurrection and Nemesis and that sort of stuff. And it was just kind of easy. And there's always a quote from that film, which I probably haven't remembered it correctly, even though I've just said I always remember it. But it's always, and it kind of haunts me from a philosophical point of view, which is where it says, yes, it really does. Because it's Picard. He's very much, you see him break down, and that's the first time you see him really break down. He cries when he talks about how this life has been extinguished and how it's not fair and it's cruel that something so fragile and so gentle has been destroyed in such a cruel, horrible way.
Award-winning actor.
Should I get my certificate?
No,
it's right on the
no, nobody needs to see this.
Nobody gets to see this certificate.
I showed it on episode 1.
No, you didn't.
I fucking did.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right then.
I think.
Let's just pretend you did.
Let's talk about some.
Sorry, the quote. The quote is.
I wonder what the fucking quote was.
Sorry, I got lost. Right. So the quote is. It's not even. It's like I'm suddenly aware that there were fewer days ahead than there are behind. Oh my god, it's so deep. And honestly, that is one of the things.
That's us now.
Well, that's what I think about all of the time, not just with what's going on, just generally about mortality. But I enjoyed that thread about mortality. But one thing I always think about with this synthetic thing, with this memories, this transfer of consciousness, is that essentially that is your transfer of consciousness, right? That's like you being transported into somewhere else, but it's like a download of your consciousness, right? So when they say consciousness, what does that mean?
Oh, let's not go down that.
But what is the definition of that? Because if it's literally a download of your memories, I could download your memories.
You wouldn't fucking want to.
I totally could. You could probably fit on a 1 gig memory stick. So if I had your memories, right, I could download them and pop you in a robot, because that's what they do, right? So I could pop you in an
are you going really philosophical? Are you asking about the soul? Is that where you're going?
Well, there seems to be that strand through there, isn't there? And even with the music piece, with blue skies and all that sort of other stuff.
Picard has lost his soul.
There are quite... No, I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about... It's more of a Philip K. Dick thing, when you talk about what is it to be... It's always
about the dick thing.
I'm always talking about the dick. What is it to be human, and what gives you that kind of cushion for experience and choice? Is it the emotional?
Well, you're asking these questions, but then you're saying that you didn't want to see season 2. Some of these questions might get answered.
Well, that is true, but you see, it went off in a different strand in the finale. So I was hoping the series end would be some sort of nice, beautiful way of saying goodbye, some emotional send off. Which, let's be honest, wouldn't be as emotional as that time Captain Kirk's voice broke in Spock's funeral.
Oh no, let's not.
Oh my god.
Just the most emotional.
I'm so exposed right now.
Camera not. We're just bleeding on camera. It's terrible.
So anyway, what I was saying was, although his consciousness is being downloaded, and depends on your definition of consciousness, right? Okay. That's not really Picard because he's dead. He's a download.
Yes.
That's all he is.
Oh, like in...
They've Napstered him over, right?
Like in Futurama and all the Lucy Loos. He's a Lucy Lou. He's a Picard bot.
Brilliant, Lucy Lou. And actually, you've started watching Elementary season 6.
I've seen it actually, but I'm rewatching it before I watch the finale, the last season, which is 7. But before we go off Picard, can we just have a little chat about some of the individual characters? I'll start.
Okay.
It's my podcast. I was really sad that we didn't see his Romulan mum and dad again, because they were fucking awesome. I kept
always missed those guys. You've always missed those
because do you know what? I thought them were really interesting characters, because in the first couple of episodes you really don't know who or what they are, whether they're double agents, whether there's something weird going on with my wig. You don't know, like there's there's this kind of possible sinister air. And then they're just like these kick-ass bodyguard parents, and I just thought it was so cool. But then that was done, and I'm sad they didn't become part of the spaceship crew, although they did have to look after number one.
Well, there's been such a positive fan response to these characters, right?
They
So
were
maybe they'll bring
awesome.
them back.
That Irish Romulan lady,
in
she
a
was
second
my
season.
favourite.
She was so cool, man.
So I was sad about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 7.
Yes.
Fucking smoking. I think she's hotter than she was. She was like, they dressed her like Borg Sarah Connor.
Yes. Yeah, they did. That's absolutely what they did.
And I just thought she was possibly underused. They either should have used her way less, so she was just a beautiful cameo, or way more.
Well, I was so disappointed when they immediately just dismissed her as like the Borg Queen.
Yeah, the Borg Queen it up and
that
then
could have been
that
so
away,
cool. And then bloody Peyton List was just like, open the doors. And they just opened up the artifact.
I
and then
found
they all
that
just
really
spun
like
out
sad,
into,
actually,
into
that
space.
bit when all the Borgs were XPs. Well, they weren't XPs; they were actual.
No,
Borgs.
they were actual Borgs. They were still patched in. They were still patched into the.
I found it quite upsetting, actually. Oh, and I was very sad about Hugh.
Oh yeah, that was sad. That was sad.
Although I've seen a lot because I follow him on Twitter.
Oh, have you?
The lushest man ever. And he's got just overwhelming positive things, and people going like you could definitely come back from a knife in the neck. That's totally savable. And he's like, well, I'm here if they ask us. It was such a joy.
Oh yeah, it was just a pleasure.
It was just a joy. I never thought I'd see this character again. And he was just being really lovely about it. But I think we all would like to see more Hugh.
It was nice. It was nice to see a lot of those strands kind of come back. It was just nice, especially with that Borg.
What did you think about let's talk about then the crew.
Oh, right, is the Motley Crew.
The Motley Crew.
Yeah. Oh, I like the Motley Crew.
Yeah. Did you have any favourites? Favourite characters?
The holograms.
They were really funny. I loved that. It was such a silly thing, but just a little bit of joy.
I love the holograms.
I would have done all of them in no particular order.
Yeah. Well, that is
I'm just saying.
No, it's fine.
He's a very handsome man.
I can't get the word Borgie out of my mind after today. So...
You're welcome.
It might be like that bit in Inner Space with Mr. Igo, when she's like, I'll have to call you back, and then you can see put something on his head, it goes, it's like, and she's like, oh, imagine that. And the Borgie will just come up with like Black Thunder attachments.
There's a reason why I usually do this on my own.
So no, I liked the crew. I thought they were a nice collection of folks, and the personalities that they left with.
Do you think they let
Horizon at the end of the finale
Alison Pill's character off a little bit easier for totally fucking murdering somebody?
she
totally fucking murdered somebody
after she killed Bruce Maddox.
Yeah, and then she was all like, "Oh, but I'm so clever and blonde and ditzy. Please forgive me."
Yeah, that seemed to be forgotten, unless I missed a strand there.
Very quickly.
Because he was all like, "We are taking you to this place,"
and then they were like, "Oh, but
and you will be placed under arrest."
Not really, because he's so cute and blonde and cute.
Impression. I can't do Patrick's impression.
I thought that was a bit of a a weird thing there. That sort of he killed someone in cold blood as well. Not, but I suppose she'd been kind of set up for it by the Romulan
that is
Star
true.
Trek, by the Starfleet lady, who I think
Commodore. Was she Commodore? Was that a rank?
Not 64. She's not the Communards.
No, she's definitely not the Communards. Well, Commodores.
She's not a communist.
She's not a Commodore. She's not one of the Commodores.
She's not one of them.
Say you.
Say me. I thought she was a bit wooden.
She was, but is that not the nature of?
Well,
is that not the nature of that?
Romulan
is that not a characteristic of that race, though, that they can be quite?
Vulcan,
well, she was half Vulcan, half Romulan.
More
I
still.
I'm pretty sure.
Would you call Leonard Nimoy wooden? No.
Well, no. But because
He was also half Vulcan.
that's true, he was.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying that he was wooden. That's why I wouldn't call her performance wooden.
I
I'd
thought
say
she was wooden.
it was a characteristic of that race.
I thought she was a bit shit.
Okay.
She was not my favourite.
No, she wasn't my favourite.
No. I did like, what's she called? Hair.
Raffi.
Raffi.
Yeah.
I liked Raffi.
She was great.
It's nice to have a fellow Alkie on board.
And she was in Ash versus Evil Dead.
That means that I could be like on board too, like me as a person.
Absolutely, and
in
she
my
was
tendencies.
And she was cuddling up to 7 of 9.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Love a bit of girl on girl.
Which is what I said when 7 of 9 was kicking the Romulan bitch down the Borg cube, wasn't it? Because he's just stealing my brilliant quote there.
Well, I'm stealing Hot Fuzz line, to be fair.
Yeah.
It just applies to so many situations.
Well, no, Olivia Colman said it first, obviously, but I said it when watching that. Also, although she was very pretty, I was not struck on the Romulan. She was a bit of a... It wasn't her. I think the way that character was written was a little bit rubbish. It was quite a sort of cardboard cutout of a person. Like, she wasn't really a person.
Oh, the sister. Yeah.
Like, the guy had
Peyton
more...
List. That was the name of the actress.
Yeah, the guy had more... I got his name wrong.
Harry Treadway.
Yes, not Henry Treadmore, as I think I keep calling him.
And he's not one of the Commodores.
He's not.
Say you.
Say me. He had there was more substance to his character. He was a more fully rounded character.
He was more involved. There were only 10 episodes.
She was just like.
She was just
a bit shit. I thought.
She was ripped from the pages of a book. That's all she was. There was no depth there. A shit book. Yeah. But we didn't need to go down that rabbit hole with her. It was just a distraction.
I think it could have just been a more fully realised character.
Subplot. There was that one reference to their parents in that last episode, actually, in that she said that they were dying for the cause. Probably wondering why I was stroking, actually, because it's like my hand's moving and like the cat's like out of shot.
Anyway,
sorry.
I'm only picking holes in it a little bit because I think I'm so overwhelmingly positive about it. I've enjoyed every second. I've enjoyed that we've had this little ritual on a Friday.
Yep. No, it's been nice.
Drinks and watching Picard. It's been lovely. I'm gonna miss it.
And it's gone. And yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So anyway,
it was good.
We've talked about it longer than I expected, but I enjoyed that.
It was very good.
Thank you. We've both really enjoyed it a lot, haven't we?
Picard Fridays.
Picard Friday. I was trying to think of a play on TGI with John Luke. No, but it wasn't coming. I'll think about it. And I'll edit it in or something later. I'm not doing that.
There's no way.
Let's talk about.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
OMG. Disney Plus. Oh my God.
We've had it since Tuesday. What have we watched?
Well, hang on.
Oh, that cat's just smacked his head off the table.
Well,
You're a complete moron.
He's a complete dick. But no, this is the woman who woke me up on Tuesday morning and went, "Get up! Disney Plus. I need you to put it on the telly."
It's Disney Plus Day.
It's out now. Wake up! I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's like Christmas.
So it was on there. So, well, first of all, lots of content.
Loads of content.
Loads of really good content, including some of the Touchstone picture stuff from the 80s.
We got very excited about that because that is the Touchstone. Is the soundtrack to my childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of really cool movies. Adventures in Babysitting's on there.
Babysitting.
3 Men and the Baby's on there.
I knew that me and Mark were absolutely meant to be when I said to him when we were watching Daredevil on Netflix. And I said to you, Kingpin will always be Thor to me. And you totally knew what I meant straight away.
Yeah. Mighty God of Thunder.
Kingpin will always be Thor to me. Adventures in Babies.
He will. So no, lots of cool content. There is not a Touchstone Pictures collection in the Explore, which I think they're missing a bit of a trick there.
We just have to explain what you're talking about for anyone who doesn't have it yet.
Oh well,
It's the way it's laid out. It looks a bit like Netflix, doesn't it?
It looks it looks like Netflix and it looks like Amazon Prime, but it's actually slightly
somewhere in the middle.
better. So there are some things it does better, and there are some things it kind of does the same, which are a bit douchey. But in terms of exploring content, I think they've kind of opened it up a little bit better. So they've split it into the major properties that they own.
Yeah,
So
so you can either search for by like Disney, Pixar,
Star Wars, Marvel, or National Geographic.
Mm-hmm. Well, which we showed one of the, an episode on there to the little one because she's obsessed with sharks,
Mm-hmm.
and we couldn't find a shark one, but we found a whale one. But then immediately the whale ate a baby seal and we had to turn it off really quickly, which was like, that was a bit of a disaster. Never mind.
But then she did find.
Oh, that little bastard!
Did he get you?
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
No. The cat just
when you say little bastard,
he saw a bird out the window and he took off and killed. Sorry, anyway. Yes, and then there's also so they have them though you can search that way, or you can search by animated film or live action.
So it breaks it down into like top
series
top
and stuff
categories
like that.
going down. But what they also have is a documentary section, which is quite cool.
But
which doesn't have
natural.
No,
it has other documentaries in as well. So one of the other really cool things is like our little one, she's obsessed with Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already watched Beauty and the Beast twice since Tuesday, and when you've watched the film, it gives a tab which is the film, and then a tab which is extras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As if you were watching it on a DVD. So there's all sorts of different extras for everything. Everything you watch, there's an extras tab so that you can see. Sometimes it's just a trailer or something, but sometimes it's bigger than that, same as DVD. So that's quite exciting.
Yep. And some of the more recent content streams automatically in 4K. Ultra HD.
He cares about that. I have no shits to give about that.
Boom.
I couldn't care less. Really.
So
that is not my area.
It was just when you were watching the Beauty and the Beast live action remake.
Baby was asleep.
It automatically
I was watching that.
It automatically came through in HDR, which was good. Oh. So I mean, for anyone who's who pays for it monthly now, it will be either $59.99 for a year or $5.99 a month.
You can get a 7-day free trial.
You can get a 7-day free trial, right? But for $5.99 a month, even if you were paying monthly for all of that content, including it's some automatic 4K streaming, some of the new
extras,
stuff.
documentaries, series. We've started to watch. Ari's obsessed with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yes, from 1981.
Yeah, which I used to watch when I was a kid. I was 5-star, obviously.
I used to watch that when I was a kid. I used to really like it.
And she's loving it. She's obsessed with the Green Goblin.
Frank Welker does the voice of Iceman, which...
Oh, and she's obsessed with Scooby-Doo.
She's obsessed with Scooby-Doo, and he just does his Fred voice. So it's very confusing.
So we've watched a lot of that, but if we try to put any of the other Spider-Mans...
Well, she doesn't say Spider-Man, she says Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Put Spider-Man on.
like that line from Friends, where he's like, he's not Phil Spider-Man. He's a Spider-Man.
But the plural is not men because there's just one of them. So it must be Spider-Mans, the same as Batman's.
I could just call it the Spider-Man universe.
Right, but there's others. There's other versions of Spider-Man on there as well. But what I'm quite excited about is watching Gummy Bears.
But it's important to note that the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies...
Oh, they're not on there.
They're not on there. They couldn't work that out.
But Gummy Bears is on there.
Oh, Gummy Bears is
all here over and there and everywhere. Yeah. High adventure that's beyond.
Oh, do you know what was really disappointing?
What?
When you shouted, Muppet Babies is on here.
But it was the new one.
And it was the friggin' new one.
I thought he was going to cry.
I can't believe they did that. Anyway, apart from that, there's loads of cool stuff on there. DuckTales.
Oh!
Is Tailspin on there?
Oh, I haven't checked.
Oh, right, well, we need to check for Tailspin, right? But, well, there's that, but also all of the older movie content, Rescuers, Down Under, all that stuff. Is Basil the Great Master Detective on there?
I haven't checked.
Does anyone know if Basil the Great Master Detective? Is Basil the Great Master Detective on there? Right, okay, cool.
I want to watch The World According to Jeff Goldblum. I'm excited about that.
That should be good, just because it's Jeff Goldblum. I don't care what he does. I don't care what he does. That's fine.
So, but I was nearly watching that on Tuesday when you were still working, and I was not working, but I thought you might kick off like a big baby spit his dummy.
Well,
would you want to go down Mad Max Fury Road City again now, do we?
Well, you said you didn't want to watch it, and then you watched it. And you went, oh, I'll watch this film. I was like, oh, fucking love you now. Anyway, it's 5 years ago. Should I go, really? So, yes.
You'd think, but no.
Disney Plus. Really,
Very exciting.
pretty good content. It's looking pretty good. I did start watching The Mandalorian,
Honestly, I cannot get excited about it. I just can't.
which, to my surprise, was not about a man that becomes a DeLorean.
Oh, you got it,
Or a
darling.
DeLorean that becomes a man. So I was sitting there, and I think I was on my 8th port. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
We're in the port now because the beer's all gone and we're
That's all
still
we've
in
got.
lockdown.
We've got the emergency Rington's tea port out. That's what we've got. What's next? The Listerine. I think that's probably next.
Got some white wine vinegar.
I'm stirring Listerine in the upstairs ensuite toilet. Madness.
Anyway, we're very excited about what have we watched. We've watched Spider-Man. We've watched Beauty and the Beast a lot. Fucking loves Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
We've watched, what else have we watched?
We haven't
You've
really
watched The Mandalorian.
I watched The Mandalorian, but we haven't had there's only
Spider-Man.
only chapters 1 and 2 were available at that time, and chapter 3 has come out today, so I haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
Oh, you watch that tomorrow.
And I didn't stream it legally. No, because I don't do that.
Because you fucked me laptop up.
Because I fucked your laptop up. But anyway, allegedly, that's not something that can be proven. But what else we watched on that?
I'll tell you what else, though, we've just finished watching that we'll talk about briefly, and then I'm going to turn it off because it's nearly as long as the
I want to watch
original
The Rocketeer on there, so I'll put that on the watch list. And Tron Legacy, which I revisited a few years ago, really friggin' enjoyed. So I want to watch that again.
I just want to talk about something that we've just finished watching on Netflix as well, though.
Mm-hmm.
Grace and Frankie.
Oh, God, Grace and Frankie.
Are you watching Grace and Frankie? If you're not watching Grace and Frankie, why aren't you watching Grace and Frankie? Because it's the best thing ever, Grace and Frankie.
Well, I thought it was the last series, right? So
we thought it was the last series.
So
We were so sad. We eked out the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And no, there's another season.
There's another season?
To come.
Because
thank God.
It ended, and I was like, that's a shit way to end it.
I can't believe they've ended it like that. We were really angry. And then we checked and we're like, oh, we've got another whole
Google
season to go.
But of course, everything's been put on hold.
So if you're not watching it, this is what it's about. The brief premise is that Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin begin the first series married to Martin Sheen and Sam Waterston. Waterston.
That's correct.
It's not Waterston. It's Waterston.
It's not, man.
Google it on your phone.
I haven't got my phone.
We shall see.
Anyway, put in the comments.
Anyway,
respectively, they're married.
They're married, and they've been married for 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
Each couple have been married for 40 years, and the two men run a law firm, and that's how they're friends. But it turns out, right, they've been having an affair, the two men, for the last 20 years. And they decide that they've reached an age now where they haven't got that many years left and they want to be together. So they take their wives out for like a seafood dinner, don't they? And dump them.
And the wives, at this point, the wives
don't like each other at all.
They kind of get on, but they really hate each other.
No, they really don't like each other at all. So,
well, they're different.
Frankie is an
spirits.
artist and a hippie, and she smokes weed all the time, and she's completely batshit. And Grace, who is Jane Fonda, is very proper in her shirts and she doesn't eat food. She just drinks martinis. She's on her face most of the time.
All of the time.
But she's very proper and she's like runs a business and
she's very corporate.
Very. So they're not the same, and they end up living together
in the beach house.
And then just hilarity ensues. And a lot of the topics that they cover are like older person topics that you wouldn't usually see. And it's just so funny. The cameo or guest cast list has who have they had on? They've had RuPaul, they've had Lisa Kudrow, Ernie Hudson. Yeah. Oh, what's he called that I fancy with the big tash? Sam Elliott. Sam
Elliott's been on
there. Who else has been on? Oh, her out of Frasier. Joan, she plays Joan Margaret.
Oh, yes.
She plays Daphne's mum in Frasier.
Yeah.
She's on there. I'm trying to think who else has been.
Well, there's just so many.
There's just tons of guest stars as well, which is just fantastic. So many of them.
Anyway, it's great. So it's up to like 6 seasons.
But they're 20-minute episodes, and there's only about 10 or 13 episodes.
Something like that.
Per series. I would really recommend it. It's so funny and so naughty. And hearing Jane Fonda say motherfucker, it's just the best thing. He fancies Jane Fonda and it's something ridiculous.
I do. And there's something about it. You know, she's 80.
She's 82, I think.
Is she? Is she really? Oh, she doesn't look a day over 80.
She doesn't look a deal over like 55 or something.
No, that's her head.
That's just her head.
Yeah, the rest
you
of
just you think she's got a fab ass as well.
She has got a fab ass. Although not in that red out. She's in that red outfit she wore in the last episode.
But usually she's in that jeans, isn't she?
Anyway, very judgy.
Anyway, we love Grace and Frankie.
Anyway, we love Grace and Frankie. That's pretty good. And I think that's all we've had time to watch.
Yeah, I think so.
Have you seen any films recently?
No.
No, I don't think I have. No, not collective. Not at the same time.
No.
No, I started watching the film the other night and then
this podcast is now as long as this bonus one section podcast is now as long as the original.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, I've enjoyed this.
It's canny.
Maybe you'll come back on for another bonus sometime.
That's okay. Well, just thanks for having me.
Also, I just feel like I need to point out that.
That's been welcome.
To show your hat. And this is the finished hat that I showed you last week on his head because he hasn't done his hair.
I haven't washed my hair, so I thought this would be better.
Yeah. But anyway, he loves it. He wears it all the time.
I do wear it all the time.
You do.
Yeah, it gets in the way of our lovemaking. But you just take it off my penis and then we get going.
If I knew how to cut that bit out, I would.
Don't cut that bit out.
A win. What's it called? Win. What was it called?
Who?
Bobbit.
Oh, yes.
Win.
Lorraine. Not Win.
Win and Win.
No, it's not Win and Winetta, Bobbit. Sweet Lord.
That's slop, isn't it?
And more Listerine for you, woman.
On that note, if you
That's
got through this, well done. I think a lot of you, or less of you, one of the two. And I'll be back next week.
Yes.
And it's goodbye from me.
It's good. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I waived my fee.
Oh, you fucking get you're supposed to say, and it's goodbye from him.
I got that, but I had something else to say. Do you want to hang on? Do you want to do it again?
No, you've ruined it now.
Do it again.
No, I'm stopping it.
Oh, how about we do this? Say you.
Fuck off.